to another episode of the NRW Checkpoint. I'm WebsterStyle, always joined by my man, Brian Sapph. Brian, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. It's end of February, beginning of March, and well, the gaming just don't stop. And we actually got the release of a piece of, well, we thought it could be vaporware with the chip shortage, but the Steam Deck has finally started to leak out to those who actually were able to pre-order when it first came out, because pre-orders were so heavy, and also the chip shortage, some people won't see theirs until next year based on where they were in the queue. But I'm not a huge PC gamer, but at starting at $399, it's a heck of a deal for just a handheld console, but a console by itself, especially for PCs. And I think that it can definitely make waves in the console world. Maybe not this gen, but definitely going forward. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's I don't know. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, this could be dope. Have experience already with the Switch in that same realm as far as the handhelds that can dock and load onto TVs and stuff like that. I guess the only difference is that we would have access to all the games on Steam, which basically means you got a computer in your hand, and you can play whatever the Steam platform decides to upload, which, like you said, I don't know if it'll catch on this generation, just because we already kind of saturated as far as consoles are concerned, and that price point is is kind of steep. But I do expect it to catch on at some point. Like, everybody can't afford a gaming PC, at least not one that that you see like streamers and stuff build up and make into these amazing like supercomputers. So I think over time it will catch and be kind of a competitor for Switch and mobile gaming more so than anything else, because it's running off of Steam. So
Yeah,
that's pretty much cloud gaming at this point. So
yeah, and that's one of the things that I think maybe not for someone like me who's not a PC gamer, but for someone who is a PC gamer, and especially with Steam being pretty much the dominant marketplace for PC games,
right.
You've been on Steam for years. Not me, I have a Steam account. I've probably downloaded 1 or 2 games in the past however many years it's been on the crappy PCs I usually use.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who's a PC gamer, you have a whole library of games. Like when I boot up my Xbox, I see games going back all the way to the Xbox One, the general Xbox era that I own, that are backwards compatible, that I've been playing for 10 plus years now, actually closer to 20 in some respects. But yeah, so having that sort of backwards catalog when you already log into a system is something that I think for at least that demographic is very enticing. But overall, gaming wise, I think that, especially like you said, as we move more toward cloud and mobile, and even there's talks now in the news about Gabe Newell from Valve is very interesting in helping Microsoft bring the Game Pass over onto the Steam Deck. So, it's one of those things where, it's scary with the way things are positioned sometimes with gaming, with some of the companies and some of the money grab stuff they're doing. Like we talked about Kingdom Hearts not too long ago, and I don't know about you, I've seen a lot of people talking about that whole fiasco from our perspective in the past couple of weeks. But then you see things like Game Pass and even the Steam Deck just giving so much affordability, so much bang for their buck as far as the consumer is concerned. So I'm excited for it. I honestly am looking forward to what Gen 2 looks like, and we're probably like 2, 3, maybe 4 years down the line from that. But I'm excited about that. So I really wanted to touch on next, and I was like, we don't really touch on hardware, it's really just software, but that's a pretty big piece of tech that came out this week that's actually people are starting to get their hands on.
Yeah, and then on top of that, it's another company jumping into the console game. So we definitely had to cover it. I'm interested to see how received it is. Like, we know with these launch consoles and stuff like that, like, shoddy at best.
Yeah.
If the hardware actually works out. some of these Steam games, they're incredibly large, which is why they, only live on PC.
Right.
So I'm gonna be interested to see like what everybody's saying about it in the community as far as people who purchase it and play it and try to, incorporate it into their day-to-day console. Because I don't know, like we deal with this with, being console players versus PC players. Like a lot of the games that you want to play that are only on PC, they're extremely large and they can't necessarily function the same on the console.
Right.
So I don't know, I'm interested just to see what the feedback is like.
I agree. And so far it looks interesting, but everybody I've seen been like PC people, so
yeah,
who knows. But speaking of PC, and one of the things about a system like the Steam Deck, and with both Microsoft and Sony bringing all their titles on the PC, everything runs on PC. So we wanted to run. So let's talk about the games this week. First up, we have Elex 2, and that is going to be on PlayStation, Xbox. From this point, if you're watching this, unless I say it's only for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, it's on all the current generation and last generation Xbox and PlayStation systems, and of course PC. And this is an action sci-fi RPG, and it's one that I've never heard of until today, especially considering this is the second one.
Yeah, me either. I mean, but action RPG, like, I mean, if the story's good, you tune in.
Right. Yeah. It gave me, when I saw the trailer doing the research, it gave me kind of Outer Worlds Fallout vibe. So that sort of gameplay looks like.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have Far Changing Tides, and this is for PlayStation systems, Xbox, Switch, and PC. And looking at some of the trailers, it looks like more of an action platformer puzzle game. This is actually a sequel to a game I forget the first Far, I forget the I guess subtitle for that one. But apparently it's pretty popular. It looks pretty cool. This is a game this is going to be a theme for this show. A lot of things are dropping into subscription services day and date. So this one is dropping into Xbox Game Pass day and date.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really big on the puzzle games. I kind of wore me out with the Candy Crushing and all that stuff. But they're good for passing the time. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Speaking of another puzzle game. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a sequel, yes, but you have the action platforming stuff. You have this ship that you're maintaining that you sail from place to place in this post-apocalyptic world. So it looks interesting. It looks, we talked about like really what indie developers are doing, and it looks aesthetically pleasing just as far as the gameplay and even watching something. I'm not sure it's for me, but it's definitely, something that'll appeal to a lot of gamers out there, in my opinion.
Cool.
So next up, we have Puzzle Quest 3, and that's on PC and then iOS and Android. It's Puzzle Quest. There's not too much to say here about Puzzle Quest.
If you go to your native app store or whatever, Play Store, whatever, take a gander. It's right there. Puzzle Quest has been out for a minute. I'm surprised they're still trucking with this game.
People keep downloading apparently, so that's why. So the next one, again, this is a game I'm not familiar with, but this is the third one in the series, and this is Shadow Warrior 3, and that's for PlayStation, Xbox, as well as PC. It's an action first-person shooter. It looks really gorgeous, but this is where we get into the rumors of Spartacus. That's kind of amalgamation of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, because this game is dropping day and date into PlayStation. Is it Plus?
Yeah.
Or
Plus. Which one are you talking about? Is this it's an older game?
No, this is brand new.
Shadow Warriors. Okay.
Day and date. PlayStation Plus.
All right.
Yeah, so this is, people are talking about, this is PlayStation, really trying to adopt the principles of Game Pass, which I think if they do are just great for gamers in general, if that price point is right. But it's one of those things where it looks nice. It looks like a really cool game.
Okay. I you know what? They've done this before where a game will launch and it'll be straight into PlayStation Plus. the last time something like this happened, to my knowledge anyway, because I don't always get the PlayStation Plus games. They, sometimes they're not for me. But I think Fall Guys was the last time this
Yes,
happened.
Falls. I think Destruction All Stars as well, released
Okay.
day and date, or maybe that was direct too. Either one, I know that people are talking about it, but I think this is like the first third party like big releases dropped on in day one. So people talk about that. And I thank you, because I thought, I'm like, this isn't the first game that's done that.
No. Yeah, I definitely remember Fall Guys
Yeah,
doing
okay.
that.
You're right about that did come out day and date
They
in
had a
PlayStation.
big push on social media, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna check this game out. It's a cool party game, or whatever." And I was looking for the price, and it's like, "Oh, it'll be on PlayStation Plus for the first month that is available."
Right.
And I was like, "All right, cool." And I've been playing it. It's a great game. I like that game. Definitely
Right.
a party game for people who
Cool.
just want to chill.
So yeah, it's Shadow Warrior 3. So it looks cool. Looks I think there's a very far east influence as far as the main characters and even some of the character designs. It looks like
Okay. Is it
just
Dynasty
looking at it.
Warrior-esque? Do you feel
No, it's very modern day, but I believe the main character, and I feel like the main character may be of Chinese descent. I'm not entirely sure looking at the trailer. So we're looking at that later as well, so you get a gist of it from what I saw as well. But I see some of those influences there also.
Cool.
So next up is Babylon's Fall, and this is one I hadn't heard of, but this is an action RPG from Platinum Games and Square Enix, and this is only on. It says PlayStation 4, but of course it's PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible. That just means there's no PlayStation 5 version and PC. It looks cool. It's Platinum Games, so if you're familiar with Platinum Games and their sort of pedigree for action games, they're bringing that sort of gameplay to the RPG world with this, and it's published by Square Enix. So for many people, this is probably a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I'm a big Square Enix fan. Like, I really like a majority of the games that they tend to craft. They usually have a really good like battle system as far as the gameplay goes. So do we have the trailer for Babylon? Let me see. Are we looking
Yes, we are watching the trailer for Babylon 5. I mean, Babylon Fall. Babylon 5 was a TV series.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm my interest is peaked. I didn't hear about this Babylon's Fall or whatever, but Square Enix, like they tend to be one of the few gaming developers that I'm like, I should spend the money because the game and the story are probably going to be good.
Right. And then next up, not last on this list, but definitely the most high profile and just arguably biggest game coming out this week is Gran Turismo 7. If you've been listening to us over the past couple of weeks, we've always happened to bring up this game because there have been a lot of car games that have come out. We talked about Grid Legends last week, and we referenced this game a lot because we knew it was coming. And this is, the preeminent car racing game. Well, I should say it was really only game in town before Forza Motorsports really got good. Because I remember the hype about this way back in the PS1 era, and then that hype had just carried on. And this is, if you want a realistic racing sim and you own a PlayStation, this is the game to get. This is the only game to get, realistically speaking. And I can't say I played Gran Turismo since probably Gran Turismo 3.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And again, I said before, these intricate racing games have never been my forte. I'm very much an arcade pick up and play sort of racing game guy. But for those that are really into the details, this is the one to get.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, like, man, what happened to Cruising World, Cruising USA? You remember those?
They had a new version come out on the Switch. I think it was last year.
Oh, okay.
So that somebody's keeping that alive, even though Midway doesn't exist anymore.
As it should be, man. That's a classic right there.
Yeah, Cruising's great. I still play that in the arcades.
But yeah, Gran Turismo coming out, more of the same, but it'll be great for the racing fans. Like, they're gonna enjoy it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. We're going to watch a trailer of that as well. But I
Alright.
expect nothing less from Gran Turismo and Polyphonal Digital. I think I'm saying the studio's name correctly. You know, when that is the only game you produce, and not to slight them, but I would expect if that's your one product, then you can focus as much time, energy, and so many dollars into
Right.
making it look as realistic and as good as possible. So
Right.
that's what I expect from this game, because that's the sort of resources and clout that studio has developed over the past doggone it 20 years,
Yeah,
if not
two
longer,
two
since the
decades.
original. No, it's got to be longer than 20 years since the original Gran
Yeah.
Turismo came out.
But even still, like you said, this is your one shining jewel. Like, for you to be in the game this long, still producing these games, and that's all you have underneath your IP or whatever. Like, that's pretty dope. So,
Right,
Gran
exactly.
Turismo, man.
And last on our release list is another RPG. It's been a lot of RPGs lately.
It's that
This
time of
one,
year.
yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, I guess that first Q1 is a big RPG time
They
after
try to get
Christmas.
them all out around this time of year. That way, when the Game Awards come back around, E3 comes around and shit like that, they already on the market. They know what's coming next. You
Right.
know.
Well, this one is Triangle Strategy, and this is another from the RPG Factory that seems that
Mm-hmm.
Square Enix is, and this is another strategy RPG. A lot of those too. A lot of those coming from Square Enix. It's like they wrote that Final Fantasy Tactics playbook, and it's like, let's just reinterpret it with different characters and different worlds, and
Because it
let's keep doing
works.
it.
People
Yeah,
love those
apparently it
games.
does. If it didn't work, they wouldn't still do it. It's like,
Right.
let's keep printing that money.
Right. And
But
they made a ton of money with the Final Fantasy 7 remake. I believe another DLC just got announced
right.
recently. I could be mistaken, but I know
I
one
think you're
just came
correct.
out. And then Final Fantasy 14, which is like their
Yeah, that's money
massive
printing machine
yeah,
right there for
they
them.
they doing everything they can.
Like, it's so bad they can't even expand to other systems because they can't keep the servers up. They
Right.
gotta keep adding new servers for the systems for the PC and the PlayStation that they own. Like, can't even think about Xbox or anything else after that, because it's like, hey, they just can't keep up with demand. So I
Right.
think that's awesome for them.
Which they
But
better
it
be
allows them to
careful.
do games like this, like Triangle Strategy, that nobody's ever heard of before, and they can just pump it out. And we can make some money on it, but we still got Final Fantasy, so we'll be all right.
Right. And I like that though. I like that they're continuing with their same, like, not necessarily format, but sticking to their genre and trying to find different ways to like get people into it. Cause that's really all it is. It's like, how can we get people to be interested in the best RPGs to ever come out? We
Right.
just make some new ones and then, tell people if you like triangle strategy, maybe check out Final Fantasy Tactics and
Exactly.
roll it on into that. But this is dope though. They better be careful though, because Sony might be on the block soon, trying to make a purchase.
Man, that would be something else. But that's a conversation for another day. I
Oh,
don't want to see personally. I don't see anyone else get bought up. Personally, I
you
don't care
don't?
who it is.
There's some talks now.
Yeah, I know there are talks. I'm just at this point, especially after this Activision thing, I was like, dude, do I really want anything else? Like well, yeah, we can talk about it another day because that's a whole nother conversation. But let's then get into some trailers. First up, we have Babylon's Fall.
Okay. See what the fuck the Babylon talking about.
We all have our reasons for Babylon's tower to fall.
It looks like a platinum
But
game.
not everyone has the power to make it happen.
Yeah, because didn't Platinum make like a Dynasty Warriors game or type game?
That's what I was thinking that other game.
Your bond with the Gideon coffin gives you strength.
Yeah, because that's what it kind of reminds me of, as far as the character designs to a degree. Like as a take on their designs from that Dynasty Warriors game that they did.
Control.
Or Dynasty Warrior
The only
S
thing
game.
you can't do is go back.
Look like they're gonna have different class roles in this game,
Right.
which will be fun. Dungeons look anything like this trailer.
Certainly pretty.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
The tower awaits. It's time to ascend.
This looks dope. I wonder if this is single player.
I think it's probably single player. Looking at the
Okay, that
game.
would make sense.
Yeah. What I wonder is, what is the exclusivity on this? Because I see it's just on PlayStation. And I know Square Enix has been cutting ridiculous deals with Sony because Forsaken is a 2-year exclusivity window. I'm thinking, 2 years, really?
Which to me, that says in 2 years we'll have a sequel at least, ready for announcing. And
Yeah,
then it'll
but
go on to Xbox, and the hype will get picked back up again, and then
I don't know if there's hype over Forsaken to begin with. Forsaken, for whatever the game is. Much like this, like I don't know, like none of these are system sellers. Final Fantasy, yeah, people get hype on that, and I understand dishing out money to get that exclusive. But to have a 2-year exclusivity for something like Forsaken, or even if Babylon's Fall, I keep wanting to say 5, is longer than a 6-month or year exclusivity. I'm like, why? These aren't, no disrespect, these aren't games that people are going to be like, oh, I need to buy the system for, realistically speaking.
Right. I don't know. I guess,
but it looks good.
It does. I guess the play is to just I don't know, keep Square Enix games coming for. I don't know, because you make a good point. Like, these are not system seller type of games, but then on top of that, like, everybody has their systems already. Like, I mean, we about to go through another round of holiday seasons coming up.
Well, people still can't get. Well, I think only the Series S is probably one that people are finding now, but people can't plan. People still can't find the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X.
That's true.
So no,
still shortages.
Yeah, we're going to be dealing with this for at least till next year, and we ain't talking about gas prices.
Man,
from
ridiculous.
8 o'clock this morning to 3 o'clock this afternoon, gas price went up 13 cents. I'm like,
wow.
Exactly. So it's like that out here in these streets. So let's get to our second trailer, Shadow Warrior 3.
Holy shit! There we go. I really made a mess here. Hey, who's next? Anyone order a blood and guts smoothie? Whoa! If killing you guys is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yeah, you see what I mean about the Far East influences? Like, I'm not that astute or knowledgeable as far as like really distinguish all the cultures, but it's definitely that sort of vibe.
Yeah, I see.
So pumped up right now. It slices, it dices. Listen, I know your experience probably differs than mine, but I am having a blast.
Like the first
Eat this! Unstoppable, baby, yeah!
Almost something about it.
Whoa! Cool party, dudes.
It looks fun, it looks kinetic.
Feel the thunder.
And especially, you know what this reminds me of, as far as
got it.
If this character talks throughout like he does in the trailer, it reminds me very much of what Duke Nukem has tried to be since the original Duke Nukem 3D. Wow. That kind of wise cracking sort of guy, obviously not as crude, but at least this guy's actually funny. And it's interesting because it's published by Devolver Digital, and they, as a whole, have really embraced subscription services. You talk about Fall Guy, they published that. One of the games I've loved playing on the Game Pass past couple of years, Carry On, they published that. You'll find a lot of their games that have been published and put out onto these digital subscription services to really test the waters. I did a whole review on Carry On last year, whenever it was, because it was such a different game. It's not a game I would have played if it wasn't there. So having them do this really, subscription services work because people buy games. I bought plenty of games from Game Pass that I wouldn't have bought because I would never play them if it weren't for Game Pass. But I like to see publishers really embracing new ways of connecting with an audience. And I see Devolver, especially, I think it's a good move for them because let's be frank, outside of Call of Duty, PlayStation is not really known as a place to go to for first-person shooters.
Right.
What better way of getting people to play your first-person shooter on a system that's not known for first-person shooter, even though there are plenty,
right?
Then put in a subscription service.
Yeah.
No, it's not as many people as Game Pass or whatnot, but that's still a lot of people that will get a chance to play. And if you got a good conversion rate, and obviously, I'm assuming whatever deal they did with Sony, they see in the past or see with what they do, they got a pretty good conversion rate. And Sony, when they paying money, they will pump you up and make sure people know to buy your game.
And I feel like that is the move, because we talk about Fall Guys, right? They kind of went the same direction. It was exclusive to PlayStation. I believe you could do it on PC as well.
It was
correctly. Okay. And then so that first month of it being like out, it was on PlayStation Plus. Everybody with a PlayStation Plus subscription could download it for free, the full game, play it, enjoy it or whatever. Yeah, after it left PlayStation Plus, it was $20. And then, as time rolled on, we started to see the introduction of different seasons with that game and different skins and stuff.
Right.
They eventually found a way to port it onto Switch. I believe it's on Xbox now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think this might be the move, like to just introduce this game to the world. If it's going on PlayStation Plus, that means Sony is okay with putting some money behind it at least, because that's a bunch of free games that they're about to give away. And then you build up your cash or whatever once you go on sale, and boom. Now I can roll it onto other platforms and really capitalize off the fact that I'm building a fan base for something that kind of has a lane already. First-person shooters, especially in the RPG realm, like they're not like super prevalent, but they're definitely a bunch of them. So
right. And I think that even with, you talk about something that's different, and I'm not a huge first-person shooter fan, but even when I look at first-person shooters, they all, but they very much, at least the heavy hitters, they all look the same. And it's all just the same sort of derivative plot point. That's why I've never gotten into Call of Duty outside of the whole real people thing we've talked about before. It's another war.
Yeah.
Or Battlefield. It's another war, or it's another space aliens thing. Like, can we just do something different in this genre? And it looks like Shadow Warrior does something different. And that for me looks okay. This looks like it'll be fun. Looks like it'll be fun. So I think it's a smart play all the way around.
I think into what you're saying, like I think the developers are starting to realize, like, people are getting tired of these war games. I seen a poll on Twitter this morning, I believe, where they were like, over 90% of voters are like cool with Activision taking a break this upcoming year.
I don't know why they didn't do that before.
They should have. That's what I'm saying. They should have been done.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I know why they did that before. They stopped publishing other stuff and just started doing Call of Duty. Right. So when you put all your eggs in one basket,
you gotta
it's hard to shift to something else. Yeah. And I think this not to get off topic because we still gotta get to Gran Turismo. I think overall this merger, even if it doesn't go through, is going to be beneficial for the gamer, because we are going to start to get different games again from one of the biggest and oldest publishers we have. Our producer Kuya P wants to add in something.
What's
up, peoples? I just got intrigued by that because that looked pretty cool for me on my side. And but I had a lingering problem though for a second, so I had to look it up, because as actors, well, as an actor myself, that loves these video games, they cast white cats to play us. And I'm like, I don't like that. Like, can we get some representation? So I had to look it up to see, because my man kind of layered it a little thick with the way he was being himself. Like, was he putting on like an accent or what? I don't know. So I looked it up, and the studio was cognizant of that fact, because apparently prior to this game, it was a white dude playing this character. And so they internally, before this dropped, was like, we got to correct this. So props on them to, you know, if they're going to do this new focus on this character, that we got to check ourselves because we don't want to get canceled. So they actually brought on actor Mike Moe as this new character. You know him as Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That I think that dropped like a year or two ago. And he was also in the Street Fighter series, I believe, when I was looking at his IMDb list as Ryu. So dope on them. I got to give them props. Cool. That acknowledgement before we canceled their ass that they did that to us. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of hyped. That trailer looked dope for me. And so, yeah, just wanted to give that info. Shout out to Mike Moe representing as this new character.
I will say this, though, before we lose you, Kuya P. I'm not sure the developer of the game, but I was saying before, Devolver Digital, as a publisher, they put out some good games, and they're very cognizant of players with the sort of PR I've seen do even like some of their skits and stuff is like all employees of the publisher. Like they are gamers, and that's one of the things I've liked about them. And you see that in the sort of games they get behind and champion and publish and develop as well. And this is just an example of that very fact right there. So that's awesome.
Dope. Yeah, I'm ready to play this one. So, all right, guys, thanks for letting me throw those 2 cents in.
No problem. Thank you, QIP. Now, all right, we can get on Activision again another day, but let's get into the big boy of this week, the preeminent card games of card games. Although I said card games for a second. It's debatable, but look, let's be real. Gran Turismo is the granddaddy of them all. Without Gran Turismo, there will be no Forza. Let's just be real about that. So let's get into the trailer for Gran Turismo 7. And I would assume this is all like PS5 footage running like 4K. I mean, it looks good, but it's hard because like you expect nothing less. So when you know this is the caliber to expect, it's like it's almost like you're jaded to a degree. It's like, oh, it's supposed to look this good. Like, can't really get excited like you would another game.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with how it looks the way I expect it to look.
Exactly. I mean, it looks sick. Now, I wonder how many cars you actually get in the base game. I have to look that up. Because I know Forza Horizon, even though it's not really apples to apples comparison, that was 500 plus out the box. And there's no add-on packs and nothing like that. So I'm really curious to see what the lineup is, at least number-wise. I mean, obviously, you got your Toyotas and Porsches, and there's our Camaro right there. Go Bumblebee. GTR. So obviously you have, different makes, models, years. Rally as well as on track. Dude, was that the old Ford Mustang? Like when the Mustang wasn't cool looking.
The real driving simulator.
Right, exactly. Trying to throw shade. But it looks great, nonetheless. Again, it's hard to get excited about something like this because you know there's a pedigree that's there, and so there are expectations when it comes to Gran Turismo as a whole. And I think that's something that, in comparison with Forza Motorsports, it always blows people away because you expect greatness, you don't expect it to be that good. Gran Turismo, you expect to be that good, and if it's not that good, it's a problem. And I hate to say that.
Yeah, they don't let down though.
No, they don't. They really don't. But I would hate to be, and that's one reason why I feel like they take so long to get the game right. I'm not a developer, so I have no idea what it really takes. Like my extent of computer programming is Turbo Pascal back in college, and by the time I took it, it was already a dead programming language. So I have no idea the time and effort, but I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot of love there. And just from the trailers, it looks like they've done it again with a quality game. It'll be interesting to see the reviews and some of the gameplay, which is probably out now. I just haven't looked at it yet, but it's Gran Turismo. What can you say? If you like driving games, if you have a PlayStation 4 or 5, buy it. And if you got a 5, you're paying a $10 premium. So just buy the PlayStation 4 version, save yourself some money.
I think as far as you could definitely do that. I think as far as Gran Turismo, like I know they do the, what do they call it? The like calibrating for people who have like those like full on riding like controllers and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know. They take a lot of time with their games. They
Right.
put a lot of effort into them and stuff. I know they continuously checking the specs on cars and car parts and stuff like that to see if they need to readjust. Like they do a lot, and it shows.
Right. Exactly. It shows. It definitely shows.
While I probably will not be playing the real driving simulator, like I can definitely respect like the craftsmanship that goes into
exactly.
And the legacy of the game. Like there's everybody's played a Gran Turismo at least once in their life.
Right.
That's how I feel anyway. If you're a gamer, it's Gran Turismo.
I agree. I totally agree. If you're a gamer, you've played at least
the track or not.
Yeah, exactly. You've played at least one Gran, especially if you're someone of my age who's been around a long time. You've definitely played Gran Turismo once or twice, regardless of what system you own now. Like I told you, I've never owned a PlayStation, but I've played Gran Turismo.
Staple in the community, man.
Exactly.
Shout out to them.
Exactly.
Definitely don't come easy.
Yeah, Polyphony Digital has a very long track record of putting out quality games, aka Gran Turismo, and they don't look to stop now with Gran Turismo 7. So that's cool, and especially considering with some of the shuttering Sony's done over the past few years with some of the Japanese studios. It's good to see one of their original OG studios still there, still standing, and still pretty much making works of art when it comes to video games.
Right. So y'all tune in about 2 years when they drop 8, because we're going to talk about it again.
2, I give them 3, because I was thinking this is Gran Turismo 7.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, the first one was on PlayStation 1. I didn't remember if Gran Turismo 2 was on PlayStation 1 as well. It probably was. So that means we only had to double up on one other system. And I don't think it was the 4.
Okay.
So I feel like the double up happened on
3?
3 might have been. So since it's so early in the life cycle of this one, we may get a double up, and we may get that 8 toward the end of it simply because that won't be full next gen. They don't have to worry about publishing for the PS4. I can see them doing that. It would make sense to me because I feel like this console cycle is going to be a bit longer because it's really taking a while to start.
Yeah. And I don't know how much else you could put into these fucking consoles. Like, what else are they gonna do now? I don't know how they gonna go from. I know we at 8K now at this point. I don't know. I don't know what you could possibly add to these.
I don't know.
But yeah, it'll probably be a double thing for PlayStation 5. It'll probably just, well, when the next PlayStation comes out,
right,
we'll probably start to see 9, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But either way, it's gonna be good, and we know that.
It's gonna look great.
Yes,
It's gonna have all the cars in it.
Right, exactly. So Brian, tell everybody where they can find you, even if they're not paying attention right now.
You know, I keep fucking it up this side. You know, the Talk+Play blerdcast at Brian Sapph, BrianSapph. I think this week, we're talking games, because there was some interesting stuff that happened in the gaming world. There's been some leaks concerning the new PlayStation Game Pass competitor, whatever. I'm gonna be covering that because I think it's gonna be pretty PlayStation fans are gonna be happy. I'm gonna just say that. I think so. Other than that, nothing on the horizon except for that.
Okay. All right. Well, of course, you can find me at WebsterStyle.com, written and also videos. You'll find replays of the NRW checkpoint there as well as my podcast, the Sartorial and Geek podcast by WebsterStyle. And I'm actually in the process of planning and recording episode 100 to hopefully drop probably a little bit after this releases, maybe a little later. I'm trying to pack a lot into episode 100. Is a big milestone. Other than that, you can find me on Instagram at WebsterStyle, Twitter at WebsterStyle, also on Instagram at Sartorial and Geek. And you, of course, are watching Nerds Rule the World. Not Nerds Rule the World, but real nerds in the world too. But Nerds Rule the World as always, and this is the NRW checkpoint. Find us, as in Nerds Rule the World, on Instagram at New Release Wednesday. Find us on Twitter at the NRW, and of course, like, share, and more importantly, subscribe to the channel. It's not just gaming. If you're a nerd, you're a blerd, you're a geek, there's so much content on this channel just for you. Stay tuned.
For you, Nerds Rule the World.
Exactly. Nerds Rule the World. And we're out.